By this point, I'd forgive the 2-minute theme song, but just because you forgive a sin, that doesn't mean that the sin no longer exists. Keep that in mind as we continue.
The other day, I was walking home from my bowling league.
The unimaginable conflict of balls rolling balls.
I'll tell Marco the story of the Grapes of Wrath.
Oh, that's a classic.
Because being a classic justifies reading depressing adult literature to small children. How did the grapes get past this tiny cliff? How are they flying? Why does the shadow suddenly disappear? Pa and Ma's glasses clip through their noses. There's shaky cam, and then there's everything shaking in different directions around a still cam. This is far more disorienting. The wheels sink into the sand.
In your eye.
Well, that eye is dead. The seed went right into his eye, and now he's half blind. Thanks, Tom.
There's no escape from cranky grapes. We are the Grapes of Wrath.
Oh look, he escaped. Guess you guys aren't so cranky after all.
We must have hit a bump.
Somehow this does not break their car.
I did not, you taco salad rabbit, no.
Using random and arbitrary words a clever insult does not make, you seizure gas station playground nugget lords.
That would make him a casserole head iguana man.
Yeah, sorry about that. Cabbage nose Elvis puppy.
Cabbage nose Elvis bulldog. Also, that's racist to cabbages. 3 sins in advance for all the needless close-up shots this episode. Either Rosie is a tiny flying fairy godparent, or her left pigtail has a mind of its own and is stretching out to hug this log. Those are my only 2 reasonable explanations for this apparent layering error. Asparafro, which Junior's eyes happily clip through.
Hey, Bean Boys, you've been gluing peas to your noggin?
Well, that's a morbid thought for a world of talking produce. Good thing the French peas don't exist yet.
Well, jeepers, Larry.
Well's jeepers, Larry.
Luckily, Junior's dad heard him laughing.
But didn't hear his son crying first. Priorities? Dad's disco tie.
Junior's dad explained to the grapes,
Using narration as an excuse to avoid writing natural dialogue.
I guess we never really stopped to think about it.
You're probably in your 70s, and you're only just now taught that teasing is wrong? Insert Sideshow Bob clip here. Physics. What are they? The grapes laugh at a child that nearly suffocated in sand. Said laughing is a pair of 2-second loops.
so once again, Junior forgave them.
What?
That fourth wall. So Larry's the one telling this story, right? How does it suddenly become self-aware and start defying the narrator?
I'm supposed to forgive them again? After what they just did to me?
All they did was laugh. Even for a 5-year-old, that cruelty's pretty tame. Rosie's not looking directly at the camera in this shot. I know that sounds like a weird sin out of context, but the narrator is directly talking to them right now, so the least they could do is look at him.
Well, how many times am I supposed to forgive them?
The simple answer should be for as long as you live, but they managed to drag this out for another minute or so. First of all, you don't know the context of this verse. For all you know, Jesus could be talking about how many times he's gonna die. Secondly, other versions of the Bible say to forgive people 77 times. I just assume we're going to ignore those versions because this number is bigger. Third, I'm pretty sure Jesus was speaking hypothetically here. Again, forgive people enough times they can't count the blessings. Please don't try to put actual math into forgiveness. You'll just open yourself to a bad time when I reach your 491st sin.
Does anybody know what 70 times 7 is?
They're called calculators. Even QWERTY should have that feature.
Maybe you could be the Grapes of Math.
Jumping into the car without opening the door, because that's safe.
Hey, kids, have you ever been bad?
Hey, this isn't a silly song.
Do you remember when you put your pet snake in Aunt Millie's pajamas and she ran 5 miles without ever getting out of bed?
No, I don't remember doing any of this stuff.
Have I got the thing for you? The new Ronco Forgive-O-Matic.
Why would you even purchase a product from a company called Wrongco?
Just dial up your sin here.
How do you dial up a sin? I'm pretty sure there's enough sin in the world that you can't abridge it all in 13 lines.
In the last 3 weeks, we dug 2 miles through solid granite.
Are you just reading that off a cue card? With your eyes covered by a hat? The moral of the story is never hang Earth's strongest knives from a ceiling prop. There will be injuries.
Just spread these seeds on here, and in a few weeks, voila! Dear Forgive-O-Matic.
Trademarks. The salesman is left in a pitch-black room because the lighting guy was feeling particularly cruel that day. Good thing the knives mysteriously vanished, or this salesman would probably be dead.
Do you remember when we learned about forgiveness?
How could I forget?
Well, do you think the kids at home would like to hear about it?
Do you really need to ask that question? I mean, what else would you do in this video about forgiveness? And if the kids really didn't want to listen, they could just stop the video. This needlessly convoluted camera pan. I guess the smiley son from last segment was on coffee break that day. Bob's death-defying eye twitches.
And wasn't there a movie star and, that other girl?
Yeah, but they canceled.
Oh.
I mean, we would have made the Gilligan's Island parody complete, but that would have required making entirely new characters, and we're pushing it enough with Archibald's wife as it is. Archibald pokes his eye out with his wife's hat. Miraculously calm ocean today, isn't it? I mean, if it weren't for this one boat, these waters wouldn't be moving at all. Wait, which one of you is steering? Seeing how none of you have hands, it's kind of ambiguous. I could assume the boat's just steering itself by now. We probably shouldn't be able to hear the whales' cries this clearly. I mean, they're kind of under a really thick blanket of ice right now. Also, how did they even get into this position? My only conclusion is that they were jumping into the water face first and the ocean just instantaneously froze over in a millisecond while they were doing it.
Captain Larry will smash the iceberg and free the whale! Commander Pablo has come to congratulate Captain Larry for his bravery.
No, I'm pretty sure he's here to call you a frickin' lunatic for endangering the crew.
We're making snow cones back there. Do you want peach or strawberry?
Produce eating produce.
At least the boat is still floating.
Shouldn't have said that. Hi, Murphy's Law.
I said I was sorry.
Well, that's just not good enough.
Bob does have a point. Maybe Larry should put in some effort to solve this problem instead of just sorrying everything away. But no, that's not the point of this episode, so that'll never be addressed.
Goodbye, Bob. I hope you find a first mate that's good enough.
Depression.
I wonder where the skipper is.
Probably in bed, seeing how I assume you just woke up.
Did you say something?
No, it was that tree over there.
Really? Well, what did it say?
You guys are not so bright!
How did Bob get all the way up here?
We can build a giant catapult to fling us back home.
And hope we don't get caught in sharp winds, or crash into seagulls, or anything else that would otherwise change our trajectory and leave us stranded in the middle of the ocean. Look, see that curve? Even the model catapult can't be trusted. Hourglass mouth. Bob comfortably stands/sits on an off-center bamboo stick without falling on himself.
Gee, it sure does feel good to be forgiven when you make mistakes.
Gee, it sure feels good to blah blah moral of the episode. Objects smashing into the camera don't get brushed away, but instead completely vanish. Bob and the rest conveniently find Larry at this shore by pretty much going in a straight line, while if Larry were at the opposite side of the island, he'd pretty much be gone by the time they find him. It would have been more practical to just split up. This is not how sailboats work. Also, Larry could have just built this raft bigger and took everyone off the island with him, actually taking initiative to make up for his mistake. But again, that's not the point of this episode, so we're just going to ignore that detail.
What?
Oh, come on, he's not that far away.
Did you say something?
No, it was that tree again.
No, I'm pretty sure this is a different tree. The fact that it has a face should probably tip you off. Floating coconuts. Small thing, but Bob's eyes are detached from his nose in this shot. Palmy clips himself with his leaves.
Hey, do you like it? I made it entirely out of bamboo and coconuts. I made it entirely out of bamboo and coconuts.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point aboard this tiny ship. The mate was a mighty sailing man, his skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour.
I mean, we would have made the Gilligan's Island parody complete, but that would have required making entirely new characters, and we're pushing it enough with Alfred's.
The weather started getting rough, the tiny ship was tossed. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. The minnow would be lost.